Hello everybody, welcome to the Red Devil Experience. My name is Eric, hope you're all doing well. We got the latest Manchester United news, and we got a lot to talk about today, including the fact that, well, apparently Manchester United are in for another goalkeeper. Yes, that is on top of Lammens or whatever you want to call the guy. I still haven't learned his name, but we'll learn it eventually. But apparently Ruben Amorim still wants an experienced goalkeeper. As you can see the update here, we're going to get into that real soon. But also, we're going to have to talk about Amad Diallo, because apparently he's received a ton of online abuse after sharing a picture with him and Garnacho swapping kits after the Chelsea match. We're going to get into that. I've seen some of the online comments and opinions from people, and I can say, I don't know if it's real Manchester United fans. I don't feel like it should be, but if it is, a lot of it was actually quite disgusting and disturbing. So we're going to get into that. We also have some small minor updates about transfers. Apparently Ruben's looking to get another wing back in for January. Some might say if he's still here, but yes, he is looking to get another wing back, and a couple other players and some news. Also, Paul Scholes calling out Marcus Rashford. So yeah, we'll get into all that stuff, but before we do, real quick, please smash the like button, because it helps the channel grow, whether you're watching it right now live or you're watching it after it's aired. It is a big help. It gets the channel pushed out there, it gets more views. So if you want to support the channel, you want to support us, and you want to support me, make sure you smash that like button. Don't forget, because that is important. If you're new and you enjoy the content, please make sure to subscribe. We welcome you to our family and our community. We're at 3,088 subscribers. We're trying to get to 3,500. So, and if you do subscribe, make sure you have the notification bell icon so you don't miss a live and you get notified when we do go live. We also got a Discord. If you want to join the Discord, it is in the channel bio. We'll also be dropping it during the live show, and we'll drop it in the comment section after the live show underneath the video. But let's just get straight into the show. Pretty much, a lot of people talking about this update that came from Alex Crook and a couple other journalists. Basically, the update is that Ruben Amorim still wants an experienced goalkeeper. Despite signing Senne Lammens, Manchester United are keeping an eye on Mike Mignon, whose contract expires at the end of the season. And the account that I grabbed this from, they gave their 2 cents. They said Mignon gives them Onana vibes, and he hopes he's wrong. But I think the bigger question is, was there a point in signing Lammens? Is there a point in signing Lammens? Many people have been saying Lammens has to start. He needs to start. It can't be worse than Binder. I've been saying for a couple weeks now. I don't see Lammens coming in really anytime soon at this moment in time, unless the next couple matches Binder has calamitous performances. And I think that's where we're at right now. I think he's gonna be sticking with Binder. Clearly Ruben Amorim asked for an experienced goalkeeper. He wanted Emi Martinez, and he got a young, sort of inexperienced goalkeeper that, not for nothing, I'm all for people having opinions and voicing their opinions and having the voice and the platform to do so. That's what this channel is for. But the people on the internet, the Twitter tacticos, the geniuses that think that they know better than all the managers that are professionals and all that good stuff, they've been saying that they think that Lammens is going to be the number 1. They keep pushing this. They keep saying that they think he's good enough. I don't know how many people out there that are Manchester United fans actually watch the Belgium League and watch him play 90 minutes. And also, I don't understand why they don't really take into account the fact that he was playing in the Belgium League. I don't know. I've been quite concerned about the fact that people are pushing this guy to be the number 1. Well, I don't think he has that much experience, and he's young, and I think it's kind of a risky gamble to put that kid in there, especially the state that our team and club is in. But I also did say, and I do remember saying this, I think it was right before the window closed, and we were talking about United possibly getting Lammens in and getting a goalkeeper. And I did say that the move that I would do, and I think the move that is the best move that we could do as a football club at that current moment in time, was to bring Lammens in, get rid of Onana, because obviously he's got to be the worst out of the three. Yeah, he's had his chances. It's done. It's over. And go with Lammens and be in there. Now, at the time, I still don't think he can't be the guy. I don't think he can be the long-term guy. I don't think he really has it all there. And there's always a moment in the match where you feel like he's a little bit he's a little bit flaky. Not Onana level, but there's always one or two situations where, I don't know, he doesn't fill me with confidence sometimes. I get a little bit afraid something's coming, something's happening, right? And again, Lammens, I hope the kid is good. I hope we just scouted and we just brought in, I don't know, the next top 5 goalkeepers in the world for the next however many years that is. But I do remember saying, and I do remember discussing with the chat and with the community and with others, that the move would be to have these two guys duke it out for number 1. Yeah, Heaton is somewhere there as number 3, which hopefully and probably we'll never have to get to. Knock on wood. But I did say that, we could possibly do this, go through this season like this. When we get to next season, get rid of Biender. And either, like Lyle said, and shout out to Lyle and Boxes here as well, but like I said before the window closed, you go with Biender, you go with Lammens. When you end this season, you get rid of Biender, because I don't think we were ever going to be able to sell 2 goalkeepers, and I would prefer to get rid of Onana first. And then after you do that, you get to the summer, you got Lammens, and you go in for another goalkeeper. Now, many people want Vitek, which is also a possibility, or a route that you could choose to do so, to go down. I think it is something that is plausible in terms of Manchester United, considering the way that Ineos have gone about recruitment and the way that they are trying to build their team out. They are going very young. But Ruben Amorim, and we all know this because it's been pretty much reported by basically everybody anybody that's credible, that Ruben has been asking for experienced players. I mean, he wanted Ollie Watkins, he wanted Emi Martinez. These are 2 very experienced Premier League players, not just in football age, but in Premier League as well. And I think he's still demanding the experience. I'm a bit worried that the story has come out now after we've signed him, and it's been a few weeks since we signed him, because again, I've had my worries that I don't know how ready this kid is. I don't know what his level is in terms of when you bring him to the Premier League and you play him for Manchester United inside of the Premier League against top quality teams, against top quality players. We've talked many times and we've had many discussions about the level of the Portuguese league, right? And I think it's fair to talk about the Belgium league. I mean, I don't think the Belgium league is absolutely nowhere near the Portuguese, the Premier League. Sorry about that. So I just don't know how ready this kid is. And this story comes out now, this week, about Ruben still wants an experienced goalkeeper. United are looking at Mike Maignan because he's out of contract, which, to be fair, listen, I think he's a pretty good goalkeeper. And if you're going to get him on a free, I think it's a good deal. But it worries me a bit that this story is coming out after we've signed him, because clearly they've been evaluating him and he's been partaking in practices. And I don't know if Ruben's saying, listen, I can't really go with this kid. But Ruben has been on this sort of path and sort of this trajectory where he shifted away from what he did at Sporting. And he's probably because, 1, it's United and it's different circumstances, but 2, well, really the circumstances is that since he came in November, he's had a horrid time and really bad results, and he has the worst record as a United manager in the Premier League. So I think he, again, I've always said he's not dumb. He's not a stupid man, and he knows what's at stake, and he knows what's being demanded of him, and he knows what he needs to do to get it done. And I think he's chosen, and I think he fully believes that he needs experience to get through this. He needs experience, and then you can mix in the youth. But when you look at the likes of, what's happened to Diego Leon, Kobe Mainu isn't getting a lot of minutes, and compared to the rest of the squad, he is younger and inexperienced. There's a lot of sort of younger players that aren't really getting as many minutes as a lot of Manchester Uniteds think they should or would like for them to see. So the fact that he's still asking for an experienced goalkeeper, according to these, updates and reports, just tells me that clearly there's a disagreement between him and Ineos about sort of the way they're going about things. And then it gives me a worry that, maybe Lammens really isn't really ready. And maybe it is sort of a big risk to put the kid in. Because, listen, at the same time, we got to look after these young guys. I think too many times in the past so far, maybe even Ineos, are sort of looking at what happened in the past, and maybe they're making decisions with Ruben, in terms of Jason Wilcox and others in these sporting decisions, where, I mean, how many times recently in the recent past have we brought in a player that has had huge expectations on them, whether it's because, we bought them for a very high price, or, the club or the football team hasn't been in a great position, and we're sort of looking for that golden answer, somebody to sort of a savior, somebody to come save us, somebody to come and carry us a little bit. And how many times has that ended very, very poorly and very, very badly for us? Because, if you sit there and really think about it, the players that we brung in, like, you could look at Sancho. Anthony, I think, was one that was very overhyped in terms of from the fan base, but Sancho was one like that, even to the extent Ronaldo. Now, Ronaldo does Ronaldo things, so he's kind of a bit different. But Sancho, Harry Maguire, these guys were bought for a lot of money. They were very hyped. Sancho was considered a baller. But I also feel like, to be a little bit fair to Sancho and these other players, it was like they were brought in, and even Bruno. Now, Bruno's the only one that I think has actually succeeded through this to a certain extent, but also, what's that saying? You either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. And it's like when they walk into this football club, because the football club is in such a bad position, the entire weight of the football club is then put onto these guys to become the savior of the football club. And I think throughout the years, we have aided in the failure of these players, and basically them getting destroyed or eaten or swallowed up by the expectations in the football club. So it's a bit, I worry for the kid a little bit, because I see all the talk, I see all the noise about this kid. It's relentless on X, it's relentless on Twitter. They want him to start. The expectation is that he's going to go and goal. And the way they talk about him is like he's going to perform like prime Gigi Buffon or Donnarumma or something. And I just don't see how that's realistic. Now, maybe we're lucky, and maybe he is fantastic right off out of the gates. But when you look at it as a whole, and you are the manager, and you are also in charge of the football club, and you just signed this kid, and you're looking for the future, and you're also supposed to do what you're supposed to do as a football club and look out for your players, yeah? And try and grow them, but also protect them and, guide them. the expectations on this kid, like he's gonna come in and be this golden savior for this position. The second something goes wrong, he's gonna get ripped apart. They're gonna make fun of him. They're gonna clip him up, like they do to the rest of them. And at the end of the day, he's a young guy who just came from a totally another league in a totally different country. And I don't think he needs that attention or he needs that sort of stuff going on. So, but let me get to the chat real quick. Lyle says he wants Vitek and Lammens as our future. Well, sure. And they can be, absolutely. Now, Vitek is another one. Because Vitek is one of these players that the fans keep going on about. And it's nothing against the fans or anything. I'm not saying that. But it's just he's one of those that the fans keep saying Vitek, 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 Vitek. But I don't know. Where is his opportunity? Why is he not getting a chance? Maybe next year. Maybe he gets it. But he keeps getting loaned out. And when you look at sort of the situation, I mean, if Ruben's asking for an experienced goalkeeper, well, you're going to have somebody like Mike Mignon, who's got the experience and who's he's already molded. And then you're going to have Vitek and Lammens. Well, one of them for sure isn't going to end up playing. So, and he just signed Lammens. So, you know, well, football is a funny thing. Maybe Lammens ends up going on a loan and Vitek becomes number 2 or something like that. But I don't know. Box is here as well. And Box says the signings should be club-led rather than manager-led. Well, that's the thing that I've been arguing about for the entire time. And actually, Box, I would say that it's got to be, like I've been saying for a really long time, it's got to be a combination of a little bit of both. That was my whole spiel, my whole shtick, basically before we started the summer transfer window. I mean, we can't, a proper football club cannot be making, we can't do what we did in the past. We can't just sign players specifically just for the manager. Basically, like when the manager makes his list and we just sign all of his players. Because if that manager fails, most likely the next manager is not really going to be able to, not going to want them, not going to use them, which is basically what's happened over the past, 3 sort of managers or 4 managers. But the bigger thing probably is that, like, the bigger thing is probably that United have had this issue, this problem with players, when we bought with the managers. Now, I think with Ruben, I think what they're doing is that they're getting players that that are usable in his system. But I think we've had evidence already that they're not specifically going for every player he asks for. Because I think he's asked for Martinez. He hasn't gotten Martinez. I think he's asked for Ollie Watkins. He hasn't gotten an Ollie Watkins. He got a Benjamin Sesko. I think he also wanted Victor Gyökeres, but that was a little bit, out of our hands, considering that we didn't have Champions League football. And he ended up going to Arsenal. So they've gotten players for him that they say that he can use. And you would argue that the players are of decent or good ability. But if you look at some of the signings, I mean, like even Lyon and stuff like that, these guys have a supposed future beyond Ruben Amorim. I think that's what they were looking to do. So it's got to be a mix for sure. We can't just completely ignore the manager and buy whoever you want, like they sort of did under Mourinho, when Mourinho was saying, this player and this player is no good, and they told him, well, you're not selling them. And then they also was just buying players. And they did it under Ali as well, where they were just buying players and telling Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to fit them in. And Ali, asked for specific players, and he basically got none of them. He got whatever the club got him. So I think it's a bit different, but for me, there's a difference between Ruben saying, I specifically want this player, and Ruben saying, I need an experienced goalkeeper. Like, get a list of 4 or 5 experienced goalkeepers. I need one of them. I think there's a difference between him saying, I specifically need, this one player because it's that player or nothing. Kind of like Ten Hag did with with De Jong, for example. It was like De Jong and nothing, right? But clearly Ruben believes that he needs to succeed and build the squad out and get results in, that he needs some more experience in the team, considering the situation that he's in while the youth is kind of developing. And I sort of agree with that because, again, I've always said that the state our football club, listen, it's a bit different if you're doing well, you can throw in the kids. I think it's a better environment to do so. I don't remember Liverpool. I don't remember Arsenal. I don't remember Manchester City when they were building their squads to what they are now. I don't remember them getting a bunch of kids and throwing them in and letting them play and building the squad out like that. They did not do that. Chelsea's a little bit different because they buy 75 players and it's constantly switching and swapping, and they've bought a lot of young, but they haven't really succeeded, Chelsea, with that. Liverpool have won a title. Arsenal haven't won a title, but and Manchester City's have won trophies. So Fox says we don't want older players on bigger paydays who are declining, like Watkins, Magnan, Martinez, etc. We don't, but we could use some of them. We could use some of them. I do agree with the football club. I didn't really want Ollie Watkins. Yeah, I didn't want Ollie Watkins. I didn't like the signing itself. I thought it was too much money. And in terms of when you look at it from the club perspective, it's a bad deal for the club to do because, Ruben would use him, but if Ruben doesn't stay, is the next guy going to want to use Watkins? And also, how many years is Watkins going to give you? I don't think Magnan is a bad deal because he's not as old as Watkins, for example. I think the Watkins deal wasn't a great deal. But this is why you got to be able to be flexible a little bit because, again, I think if he asks for a specific player, it's one thing. But if he's asking for some specifications in terms of, listen, in the striker role, I need somebody that's a little bit experienced. There's got to be some sort of a deal or something that you can do in terms of that I can get that's kind of ready to go. We need results now, yeah? Like, we need results now to get to the future. And to build the future, we need to be doing things now. And if we, is he going to get that time with the squad that we have? I don't know if he is. Ray says, hi, Reds. If this is for free, we take him that a club we became. But he's not bad. Like, you got to be able to do those deals as well. So you got to be able to do those deals as well. You should be looking at deals like that. He's not bad. He's going to go out of contract. He's a good goalkeeper. He plays for AC Milan. And it's not a bad deal. So the managers fail us, the fans. Ray says our club is dysfunctional. You can see it on the pitch. Well, yeah, I mean, we've been saying that for a while, but that's why we got to be trying to do things to fix it. So, Lammens is not a kid. He's 23. That's a kid to me in goalkeepers with a good temperament. He's been scouted for a while and been identified as one of the best goalkeeping young talents. It's very, very fair, but I mean, to me, 23, coming from the Belgium league, as a goalkeeper at 23, that's a kid to me. It's young for a goalkeeper. He doesn't have much experience in terms of like the top level. It's not like we're getting him from a top 5 league or something like that. So, I do consider him a bit of a kid, considering, his playing experience and where he's come from. And he might very well have good temperament. And he could be scouted for a while and identified as one of the best goalkeeping young talents, but the proof will be in the pudding, I guess, when he plays. I mean, I think we're all still waiting to see when he plays, so maybe the story changes a bit, but I'm just saying it's a bit concerning to me if, because I feel like if he's actually that good and he's 23, then he should. Why do we need an experienced goalkeeper? We don't really need one unless we're going to use him as a backup, and just in case. But I don't know how long we're going to have to wait to watch this kid play, because I don't think he's going to get a chance soon in terms of the next few matches. Everybody keeps pushing for it. And also, you know what? It could be good, it could be bad, but there's extra pressure being put on Biender because I think one mistake, and the fans, our fan base, is going to jump on his back to get him kicked out. And if he makes one mistake, I probably feel like, and I know that Ruben is probably not going to take him out for one mistake. I mean, I guess it depends on the severity of the mistake and what actually happens, but I don't think Ruben will drop him off of one mistake. He'll go into the next game. And if he's one of these guys that's affected by social media or online presence or something like that, then it could get in his head. And then maybe we got to go with Lammens and we'll see what happens. So, Box says De Gea made mistakes, but we identified him as our future number one and said we back him regardless, and we should do the same with Lammens. We did, but I will remind you, Box, that that was a different time at Manchester United. The way I view that, two totally, completely different circumstances. I mean, we still had Sir Alex. We were winning trophies at that time. We were still successful. And our football club was still in a good spot in terms of having a proper structure, basically because of Sir Alex, being there for so long and holding it down for us. But this is not the same Manchester United. This is not the same situation that we find ourselves in. This is a club that has been broken for quite some time. And we've seen many players come to this football club and fail. We've also seen players leave this football club and be successful after leaving. So there is something here. Again, I think in normal circumstances, this club can swallow up anybody on its day. But I think it's very underplayed. The pressure, the criticism, especially at this time of the football club. People are agitated. People are angry. There's no patience left in the fan base. And I think some of our fan base has lost a lot of their minds, to be quite honest, because the things that I'm seeing them say about our players and the way they act, there's no grace period for really anybody. There's no anything for anybody really, at this moment in time. So Lyle says Amorim protects the younger players, but I'm not sure if that's a good thing yet. Well, again, I think, well, you should be protecting the young players for sure, in a certain sense. I don't think you should be wrapping them in bubble wrap and hiding them from the world. I don't think that necessarily helps. But in a certain sense, you should absolutely be looking to protect your younger players, in situations where you should be, like, you must, like, you don't want them to be getting a full head of, like, you want them to get an inflated ego. You don't want them to get ahead of themselves. You don't want them to succumb to basically, like, getting their confidence destroyed and stuff like that, because again, young players, first of all, they're young guys. They're still, they're not adults. And these guys, these kids, they also are going to have good games and bad games, and that's part of growing and developing as a player. And that's why your job as a manager, but also the football club itself, you need to be able to navigate those waters when it's going like this, because that's what happens with these young kids. But when the club is toxic, when the club is not in a good position, when the club is struggling to even be decent at this moment in time, I think you can make a call one way or another. And I think Ruben's made the call that whether you agree with it or not, and you don't have to, but I think it's quite clear and obvious that Ruben has made a call that he still believes that this is not the situation to be introducing these young, inexperienced players at this moment in time at this football club, at the magnitude of this football club. There's too many voices, there's too many eyes, the criticism is harsh, and like I said, there's no patience, there's no understanding. Our football club is already us against the world, and what's happening because of our failures is part of us, part of our fans are going against our own as well. And they're not trying to protect some players. And some of them go so far off the end and so far off the edge that they're just attacking everybody and anybody. Because, I seen it, and it's kind of a weird thing. People can't handle getting bantered. They can't handle being bad. They can't handle losing. And so what they do is, instead of trying to fight and protect our players from the world who hate us and attack us every second and moment that they get, they join in the banter and they join in attacking our own players and making fun of them and clipping them up so that they don't get made fun of for it. And it's a very weird thing. It's very strange. And it's actually quite sad as well. And sort of, I view it, not for nothing, but I view it as very, very weak. Because when I look at it, like, Liverpool don't do that. Chelsea fans don't do that. Arsenal fans certainly don't do that. These other clubs, they don't do that. Like, their players can be shit. They will defend them if it's another fan's club trying to have a go. But our fans, some of them have started doing this thing where they join in with the other rival fans in tearing down our players. So it's a very weird place and weird position that we find ourselves in. Lyle says our fan base is at its most toxic at the moment, and what's worse is that we are in the social media age, and it's not good for United. Well, let's sort of jump to this topic real quick, since we're talking about the social media age and we're talking about, toxicity and stuff like that. Now, I don't know if many of you are aware of this. I sort of missed the initial what happened, but let me just bring this in. Let me just pull this up. So the other day I noticed that some of the aggregator accounts were posting updates about Amad Diallo and his social media activity, in terms of that Amad Diallo has removed his profile picture from his social media accounts, which is Instagram and Twitter, or X. And I didn't really know what was going on because I didn't see what happened before. But apparently, after the United versus Chelsea match, him and Garnacho swapped kits with each other, as you can see in the picture down below. He then posted it on his social media, and he has apparently gotten a bunch of online abuse from our own fans, going at him and saying some really weird, disgusting things about Amad Diallo for taking a picture with Garnacho. Now listen, I'm no longer a fan of Garnacho. I don't like the way he conducted himself at our football club. He started getting on my nerves towards the end, and I did want him to stay at a point, but at the end I was over it, because again, I don't hold this thing for players. I don't do player FC. I don't. I don't believe in it. I think it's a hipster type of weird 2025 thing or whatever, 2020, whenever it started happening. Um, and it's almost like a cult like thing because, I mean, do you support the football club or do you support an individual? Um, so I'm okay now that he's gone. And you know what? That's fine. Listen, Ahmad is friends with Garnacho. It's clear as day. And in today's age, these football players, I mean, we've seen it before. There's, it's not like back in the day. United players, I mean, listen, Cole Palmer walked off the pitch in the Chelsea match and he gave a handshake to Kobe Mainu, who was warming up on the sideline. Yeah? Like the old days of the rivalry where they hate each other because you play for United and you play for Chelsea, or you play for United and you play for Liverpool, it doesn't really exist anymore. Now, I think, unfortunately, I think it was a little bit naive for Diallo to do this. I don't know if he was aware of the exact hate that the United fans have towards Garnacho. I'm sure that he probably did hear the fans chanting the anti-Garnacho chant that we did at the end of the Chelsea match. And I think that he probably, it was just naive. I don't think he realized that how much of a blowback he was going to get for doing this. But I'm not defending any of these guys that are coming out to attack a player for taking a picture and swapping a kit with some guy that he's friends with that is no longer part of our football club. And I get it. But the things that they were saying is absolutely just insane. And I couldn't believe what I was reading when I was, because I was going into all these accounts and I'm looking at the comments and it's all just United fan accounts just saying despicable stuff about one of our players that last season everybody was crying and moaning and bitching that they needed Diallo and Diallo had to save us. And now he posts a picture and it's okay to attack him and say vile, nasty things to him under his Instagram post and under other United accounts, big accounts that he may possibly follow, because he's taking this picture. I think it's, crazy. I don't really understand what's wrong with a lot of these people. And you know what, maybe their mental state, they might need some help on that. But Lyle says, yeah, after this, some have said that Ahmad has an ego, and I was shocked that this post is not like the Garnacho in the Rashford kit. They are friends and we're very close, so why not? They were. I think it is naive. Like you're agreeing with me. It's naive. It's not malicious. I think this is the problem that I'm talking about. People are making up their own stories. They're making up their own narratives. Yeah? Because those same people that are attacking Diallo, half of them want Ruben sacked. So what is the angle that they're really defending here? Is it the football club? Because maybe you can say, maybe you can say, oh, he's undermining the manager because clearly Ruben and Garnacho had a fallout, and then he goes and he posts this picture holding each other's jerseys online. But I clearly it wasn't that. Like, clearly, I mean, if you have half a brain and you follow United, you know that, like, they were very close, like Lyle said, and that they are friends. And it is not the same circumstance of Garnacho running around putting up posts of Marcus Rashford. I mean, it's two different stories. Amad Diallo does not have a problem with Ruben. He does not have a problem with Manchester United. He's not trying to leave the football club. He hasn't been doing things to go out of his way to disrespect the manager or the football club. The guy goes on the pitch and gives everything he's got week in, week out. And he's been doing it since he's been actually in the team. So it's a bit shocking that the fans, or a lot of our fans, are so quick to kind of just turn their back on him and go at him in the manner that they did. Because you don't have to like it, you don't have to agree with it, but there's levels to criticism, and a lot of it was well over the line, and well over the top for something like this. So it's a bit, it's a bit, it's just a bit weird. And this is why I keep talking about the fact that, like, I worry for these younger players, because we our football club and where we are it's not a good place for these kids. It's not a good place. But listen, we're bringing in players that have, maybe they're more developed and they have more experience, and they're struggling. I just don't see how having these kids come in and play, and they're going to struggle, because listen, even the class of 99 and stuff like that, I mean, when they were brought in, it's not like Neville Becks and Scholes, it's not like they had 10 out of 10 matches every single match from the second they stepped in. I mean, they weren't perfect. They're human beings. So I just don't see how it's a good idea to get a couple of these kids and put them in when the team is shitting the bed. Because what's going to happen is, because it's a team sport, yeah, when you put a couple of these kids in, and like we saw a little bit last season, right? There was Fredrickson and Amos. They played one match. They played one or two matches, and they did well. And then the other matches they played, they didn't do so well. They struggled. And luckily, at that time, we were well enough to let to the fan base to understand, yeah, the circumstances. But the way things are going, I mean, I worry for these kids. I think to a certain extent, Ruben is correct in that I don't think it's a proper environment. I don't think it's a proper time for these kids to come in, because I think a lot of them will probably get destroyed. I do. I don't think they would be able to make it out. I think mentally they would get. I mean, like, even so, Amad is a little bit older, yeah, than maybe like somebody like Leon, even Yoro, or Kobe Mainu, yeah, and he's a little bit of a social media guy, but he's not really a social media guy. Like, he's not like, Diallo's not like on the level of Rashford, where he's making brand posts or anything like that. Even Garnacho is very much way more active on social media, kind of trying to do like a Garnacho brand type of thing. Amad is not like that. Amad has Instagram and he has X, but he barely uses X in terms of posting. And Instagram, I mean, it's very standard posts that he would put up. He doesn't put up a ton of stuff. And even, this has gotten to him to the point where he's basically almost deactivated his accounts because of the abuse that he received. And there was another update. No, I'm sorry, I didn't read the actual update. So Manchester United have come out, because this was the other day. So Manchester United have said, and this is from Samuel Luckhurst, but Manchester United have offered Amad support after he suffered online abuse for sharing a picture with Garnacho. And club sources admit the Instagram post was naive, but stress that Amad is okay in the wake of the ordeal. Yeah, and not for nothing, football club, specifically not for nothing, Manchester United, but you literally just had Patrick Dorgu just made an X account, like literally the other day. He just made an X account the other day, and he literally announced that he had an X account by saying something along the lines of, let's see how this goes, or whatever. And I'm not even kidding you. I literally replied to him, because I was just like, why does our football club do these things like this? Patrick Dorgu, official X account, day one here. Let's see how this works, with the thinking face emoji. And I responded to him and I said, get off of here while you still can. You don't need the toxicity and stupidness that comes from this app. I don't understand why. Like, it just seems like our football club pushes them to get some sort of social media. And I just don't know why you would want to do that, especially because I know, because I use it and I see, and I've been using it for years. So I know what goes on this platform. And I know how X is significantly different than Instagram in terms of social media use and posts and stuff like that. And I'm just sitting there and I see that he has this X account, and I'm just like, see, but if I'm at the football club, he's not fucking allowed to have that. Why do you want him to have that? He's already getting a bunch of criticism for his performances because his crossing is not good, and his passing isn't great, and his decision making is shaky at times as well. And then all of a sudden, you know, he didn't have an X account before he was at United. Now, all of a sudden, yesterday, he decided that he's going to have an X account. I don't really understand this thing from the football club. I don't think the football club actually understands what they're doing. Now, it could very well just be like they made it for him and maybe he doesn't actually use it. And, you know, they got somebody from the club basically making the post and running it, but I don't trust it. I don't trust it. We've seen too many players in the past 12 years and 13 years, and let's just remember as well, the past 13 years, you know, United created their Twitter account and their social media accounts the year Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Like, literally, it says, if you go on the United account, on the Manchester United account, Manchester United Twitter account, they joined April 2012. Okay? So basically, once Fergie was out and gone, I know he left the year after, but basically, once he was gone and out, this is when this is when social media started blowing up anyway, but this is where this started going. So basically, the last 13 years, all the players that we've seen, and as social media has grown, it's been a huge issue at our football club. I don't know if they understand what actually is happening when this happens. And I don't think they have proper, like, social media training for these players, because clearly it's not working, and clearly we keep having issues with this social media thing. Also, it has to be something about our football club, and it can't just be a coincidence, because why do we not see these problems at Liverpool? Why did we not see these problems at Manchester City? Why do we not really see these problems at Chelsea or Arsenal or anything like that? Why is it always United and United's players and social media? Why? Because and I'll answer the question, in which football club out of all the clubs that I just mentioned is considered the most commercial football club and not a football club? It's our football club. So it's clearly a problem that is maybe not necessarily created by us, but we are fanning the flames of it. We are not doing the things to try and put the flames out. We are making it worse and bigger, and we've been doing it. Now, I think in the past it was way worse. I don't think it's as bad as it is now, but I think that we're still I think the football club is still a bit naive about these things. And also, I think, not for nothing, I mean, the Glazers still own the majority, and they're still here. And they're still all about the money and all about commercialism, even though there's Ineos, and the rest of them. But, you know, some people will argue, well, Sir Jim and Ineos are here for the money as well. So, Lyle says, you have these branches of our fan base that are just vile and disgusting. The crap they spew, man, is sickening. Well, the problem is as well, Lyle, is that, I mean, it is the internet, and a lot of these accounts are faceless. Yeah. It's not like there's a person's face to it. It's not like, my face is on there. Just to name a couple other people, but like Mark Goldbridge has his face there and he has his channel. Terry Flewis has his face there in his channel. A lot of people that are on the Football Terrace and Terry Flewer's channel, they have their faces and you know who they are. You know who they are. They show themselves. These other accounts, it's all faceless accounts. The problem that you have is that because United is so big and it gets so much attention, there are accounts out there that they're not United fans. They use our name to get interaction, to make money off of it, and get attention because maybe they're addicted and they got dopamine hits by attention. So that is a problem because there's no way you're going to actually be able to determine if it's a United fan with a horrible opinion or it's some weirdo that maybe not a football fan, maybe he's a Chelsea fan, maybe it's a Liverpool fan with a faceless account using United's name to get clicks, interaction, and stuff like that. So that's part of the problem as well because our brains kind of trick ourselves, especially when you get into it. You know what I mean? You go on there, you start seeing some of the comments. Your brain doesn't really say, hey, this probably isn't the United fan. It's probably some troll or something. It's hard to, it's basically impossible to determine because you're never going to know the person. You're never going to see them and you just don't know, So, Elias is talking about narratives. Some have gone against the Garnacho chant, saying that he never wanted to leave the club, wanted him out. How did these people come up with this crap? I don't know. This Lyle, this thing happens. Listen, I think in the beginning, I don't think he did. I think, but people have selective. They have selective understanding. They have selective memory, I guess. Because I will say, Lyle, I think in the beginning, when basically, let's say when Ruben first came in and he dropped him, yeah, I think at that point, I don't think Garnacho he didn't want to leave the football club, yeah, he wanted to clearly stay. But obviously, the way things developed and how it ended, at the end, he did want to leave, and the things that he did that led to that, what he did in the final, what he did after the final, clearly, he then chose that he did want to leave. And he did it even through his actions. I mean, through his actions is how he did want to leave. But this happens before. It's the same, it's the same people that they said Ralph Rangnick deserved to get sacked because he was a terrible manager. And it was like, hello? Where were you when the club said that they were bringing in Ralph Rangnick to evaluate the squad and then go upstairs and build it? When did anybody ever say that Ralph was brought there to become the permanent manager and be the manager? That wasn't the agreement. But somehow, after he got sacked, there was a certain section of people that all they kept saying was that Ralph was a bad manager and deserved to get sacked. And that the club was right to sack him in the way that they did. I never understood it because I was just like, you're missing half of the story. You're missing the part where the football club literally told us that he was brought in to build the football club. That he was brought in to evaluate the players, evaluate the squad, and then make recommendations on targets to make our squad better. And then they sacked him because he said United needs open heart surgery, and that's bad press for the stock, which the Glazers didn't like, so they kicked him out. You know what I mean? Sandy's here. What's up, Sandy? It's been a while, buddy. How you doing? Rajat's here as well. Rajat says, do not think Dorgu that good to be playing each game. He needs more competition. He probably does need more competition, which is why there is a story. And actually, very good transition, Rajat. I'll bring it in right now. I think I have the clip of it, or maybe I didn't clip it. I didn't clip it. So I'll pull it up so I could read it to you guys. But basically, about Dorgu and his competition, yeah. One of the stories that came from yesterday, and it's coming from some Napoli fan account or something like that, Napoli news aggregate, something like that. Apparently, Ruben Amorim has put Federico DiMarco at the top of his Manchester United wish list for the January transfer window. He is targeted for United, and Amorim is very keen. Now, DiMarco is a wingback, and he is, again, another experienced player. He is not a young. He is not a young guy in that regards. In terms of, Dorgu or even Leon. So, DiMarco was born in '97. He's 27 years of age. He'll be, when's his birthday? November 10th. So he'll be 28 in November. So again, is another player. I know January is very far away, and I know we just ended the summer transfer window, but it's another player, it's another link towards the end of September, and it's another player that's being reported that Ruben wants, and Ruben is not asking for 21-year-olds. He's not asking for 22-year-olds. He's asking for players that are 28, 29, 30. Because again, I think he's very well aware that the way it started for him and the way things are going, I think he's made his decision that his best choice, and other managers have done this in the past at United, and they've all been sacked for it, but his best bet at succeeding or building a good foundation for the football club is he needs more experience. And I think part of the problem is, somebody made a very good point last time at, if you look at our team, yeah, while we did, listen, Rashford wasn't at the football club pretty much basically when Amorim came in. I mean, he didn't feature. Garnacho was one that he played to the end of the season. He's gone. Anthony was gone as soon as basically Ruben came in as well. Basically, the team that we used and fielded in the Europa League loss, they're basically all still here, pretty much, besides Rasmus and like one other player. Yeah, everybody else is still here. So the experienced players that he does have are the same experienced players that bottled the Europa League final and played like shit and played one of the worst performances I've ever seen Manchester United give, and they're still here. So while the club is doing what the club is doing in terms of building for the future, and I understand that, I think Ruben is probably like, hey, the experienced players that I have, I probably would like to move some of them on, because they're not doing it, they're not grabbing it, they're not grasping it. I can't really use them, and I can't just use all a bunch of kids, because it's not gonna happen. And I need some other experienced players, ones that are better suited for what I can do, and the league. And I think what he would like to do is get rid of some of the players that he currently has and replace them with these other experienced players. So, but the football club can't really, I mean, listen, there's only so much we can do, especially because of how shit our situation is, yeah? I wish we had a shit ton of money. It would make it way more easier. I wish that, we didn't do really bad deals in terms of high transfer, like a high transfer price and high wages that we did in the past, because it's biting us in the ass right now to get rid of players that we would like to move on. And I think the problem is we're gonna have to do it step by step, which is sort of a big problem. And Bach says, doesn't DiMarco age go against the Ineos project? It does to a certain extent, but this is what I'm saying. So Ruben and Ineos, clearly here's the thing. Here's the problem that I see with this situation. Ineos are backing Ruben. They believe he's the guy, yeah? But the way Ruben's tenure has gone, it's not like he gets a free shot this year. He got his free shot already. His free shot is gone. His free shot is gone. And to Jim or whoever else in Ineos can tell Ruben all they want that this is his first season. But again, nobody is going to accept that. Even Ruben Amorim doesn't accept that because he literally said he doesn't accept it. And also, again, Ruben's not dumb. After a certain amount of bad results, he probably knows that he will get sacked. So I don't know how, Ineos can't really tell him he is a bunch of these young players that obviously they're not going to be ready yet. But also, by the way, we need you to get the European football and get back in. And if you don't get European football, you're going to lose your job. And also, by the way, do it with basically the same players that bottled the Europa League final last season, minus a few additions. It just, the whole thing doesn't really make sense in terms of, for him, it doesn't make sense. How are you going to survive and create something? I think he's, again, through the media, he doesn't like to air it out, really. I think he's very honest when it comes to, like, tactics and stuff like that. And, being upfront to the fans. But he's not the guy that, listen, he's not the guy that's going to publicly throw the player really under the bus. I said last year, I don't think that he would use Garnacho as much as he did. I think if we had some other players like Zirkzee and Mount available, I don't think Garnacho would have been playing all those minutes. I think there was a lot of matches where Garnacho was very selfish, not looking for his teammates, not passing the ball, and I think Ruben was probably absolutely furious. But I also then did argue that at that moment in time, he doesn't have much options. I mean, it was Garnacho. There wasn't really a lot of other players to use or that he could use. And so he had to make do with what he did. Well, as soon as he got Mount back, I mean, what did he do in the final? He dropped Garnacho. So, and he did a little bit like the same to Rasmus in terms of, maybe the football club had a bigger deal in this, but as we went with Rasmus. Rasmus played like a game or two, and then as soon as it was like we're getting a striker and Sesko's coming in, Rasmus was tossed out the door. Rasmus didn't play again for like 3 games, and then he was gone. So he does do these things a little bit, which some people will say that he's a liar or he's a manipulator or whatever weird trigger word they want to use, but I think he's just being a smart guy about the situation that he's in. I don't think you can alienate players that you're stuck with, that you have to use for a season or 2 seasons when you're talking to the club. Like, for example, Casemiro. I think one of the problems with Casemiro is he didn't want Casemiro. I don't think he has the legs. I think the football club has a problem in terms of that there was no interest for Casemiro. I think it was probably determined that Casemiro is the least likeliest one in the football club, maybe barring Luke Shaw, that he's probably not going to get out of here. And also, to be fair to Casemiro, I mean, again, he conducted himself well. He wasn't playing. He came in. I think he conducted himself like a professional. I think Ruben respect that. But he has to use Casemiro, yeah? Because we're not getting rid of him. He's on $350,000 a week, and we didn't get a midfielder. He kind of has to use Luke Shaw because nobody's buying Luke Shaw. Lisandro's injured. So I think there's players in there that he really doesn't want or would like to replace. But the situation of the football club doesn't make that easy. And I find it a bit hard to piece together how it works when Ineos are going super young in certain places, and the manager is pretty much. I would assume Ruben has told them that his belief and his idea is that I need some more experience, because for me to get you to where you want to go, which is Project 150, yeah, well, we need to be able to perform and win in the now as well. And I think if you do that with younger players that are less experienced, I think it makes it much harder. Um, Especially with the situation of the football club. So, I lost my spot. Rajat says average. Don't want to do the DeMarco signing this January. I don't rate him that high. He is not great. Well, listen, it's a different. That's a different thing. I mean, we're not going to get carried away with that with DeMarco, because it's September, and probably by the time we get to January, they're not even going to be talking about DeMarco. But I think the point is, I think the players that are still being linked to us, and that Ruben seems to want. Let's just put it this way: Ruben's not asking for 22-year-olds. He's not asking for 23-year-olds. I think we actually have a good amount of them right now. I think what he's asking for is we have experienced players that are not. They have struggled to adapt or perform since I've come to this football club in November. We need to get rid of these guys, and then we need to replace those experienced players with different experienced players. We can't replace the experienced players with young guys, because we're already buying young guys, and we're going to continue to buy young guys. We need to replace some of these experienced players, like Casemiro. This is his last season, obviously. Yeah, we might need some more experience in there. I mean, listen, Baleba, he's decently experienced in terms of that he's been playing a lot of first team football in the Prem. Yeah, so he's experienced in the Prem in terms of that he's been doing all right. Now he's struggling now because I think, you know, the transfers kind of messed with his head a little bit, but yeah, I think he's trying to. I think he would like to get these guys out, but I think the situation of the football club is not one to make it easy. I think Ruben probably would have liked to do what he did at Sporting, which was basically go to a bunch of them and be like, "You guys all suck," and leave, and then replace them. But the thing is, Sporting is in the Portuguese league. Portuguese league is very different to the Prem. And then also, United situation in terms of finances and the contracts that we have with players, it starts getting very expensive, and it starts getting very hard to make the changes that maybe he would do. So, again, this is why I think we're seeing him go with this sort of very experienced lineup, minimizing the amount of youth players in. I think probably playing a hand into as to why Kobe isn't getting as many minutes as people would like. Some would argue that he has to start, but yeah, I think that's what's going on. I think he's trying to. I think he knows the situation of the football club is not great. He's made comments about it before, but I think what he's trying to do, and my father always says this, and he's not wrong, but it's almost an impossible task with because the manager is basically he's fighting from a losing position, yeah? And every manager that we basically gotten is always fighting from a losing position, and they're always making decisions from a losing position, and therefore you can't win. You can't succeed from a losing position. And I just feel like at this moment in time, Ruben is the reason why he's going so experienced is because he's literally trying to survive this season. He's trying to survive because he knows that he needs to get to another summer window to get closer to what he feels like he can accomplish at this football club. But it's not going to happen until the summer window. I mean, January is probably going to be, if at best, one addition, if we're lucky. And it should be more. But again, from the things that we've done in the past 13 years has led us to this situation where we probably can't really afford. And it's already hard because it's only a month, but we probably can't afford to do 2 deals or 3 deals in January when we would actually probably really need it because we got a lot of work to do. You know, it's probably in January if he's even lucky, if he's still here. But if he's lucky, if we're lucky, we'll get 1 signing like we did when he came in, which was Dorgu. Vandison age 24 is good age for wing backs for us. I mean, listen, doesn't have to be a 29-year-old. You can get a 26-year-old. They should be experienced enough, but it depends where they play, how much they're playing. You know what I mean? Kind of like that quote that Mourinho said. Where are they playing? Who are they playing for? I think Mourinho had a couple quotes like that. Like, there are some players that are 19, but they have loads of experience because they're playing week in, week out. Then there's some players, and maybe they were playing in a top 5 league or something, so they have experience, even though they're younger. But there's players like Leon is not experienced. Lammens is not experienced. Yoro came from a top 5 league, but he had slightly less experience, but he is good, and he had last season with us, and now this is his 2nd season, so he's in a better spot. You know, so these other players, they don't have that experience. Elias says experience comes with very high wages, and that is totally against the Ineos model. But it depends. It depends because it depends what kind of deal is on the table. It depends what is out there. Again, I listen, our wage bill is low, below a lot of clubs now. I think it's like six clubs or something like that, yeah? Now, I understand you don't want to be... Now, I understand what you don't want is what we had, which is the highest wage bill in the league for shit underperforming players and not winning anything. Yeah, that model doesn't work. But at the same time, you can't necessarily have... Like, if Liverpool have a certain wage bill high, yeah, and they're succeeding, well, us lowering the wage bill to a certain level... we're also not doing actually what we're supposed to be doing. It doesn't actually make sense. If you lower the wage bill to a certain level, well, then we're getting a certain level of player that's clearly probably not going to be able to compete with the rest of them. So, again, there's got to be a balance. And let's just talk about Magnan again. I think he's a good, experienced goalkeeper. Yeah? If he's available for free, and you don't have to pay for him, whereas if you wanted a goalkeeper with experience and you had to pay, like Donnarumma, 30, 40 million plus the wages, but you're getting him for free, you can afford to give him 200,000 whatever a week or 250,000. Might make it difficult to move him on after, but it's not like you're paying a transfer fee up front. So there's a balance to these things. It depends what kind of deal is available out there. It depends on the situation. You know, I'm not asking them to go out and spend 80 million and pay the guy 300,000 a week. I'm asking, there's no way that there isn't a deal or 2 or 3 that you can do that is decently good money, whether it's a fee or the wages, that the guy has experience. There's no way. There's so many players out there. There's so many different situations, clubs in different situations, clubs that need money, especially from the Serie A, which is why we keep going to the Serie A, by the way. We keep going to the Serie A and buying players because Italy don't got money. So Italy, it's cheaper to buy from Italy. It's way cheaper to buy from Italy. I mean, look at Theo Hernandez. Theo Hernandez left for 30 million. And he went to Saudi Arabia, yeah, but he left for 30 million. A player like Theo Hernandez, if he was in the Prem or something, he'd go for like 80 million. Probably. Or more. If he was in La Liga, he'd go for more. Italy's got no money, which is why we keep going to Italy to buy players, because it's cheaper. But also, the football is different. It doesn't necessarily translate. So, Chad's here as well. What's up, Chad? Steph's here as well. Axe is here as well. Sorry, guy, I'm behind on the chat a little bit. Axe says we already have a squad capable of reaching the 8th place. Not doing so is on the manager. Yeah, but we talked about this before. 8th place is not. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna take 8th place. I'm not taking 8th place though. I'm not taking Conference League. To me, Conference League is not Europe. Now they might consider it Europe because they'll get European money for it. But when they say Europe and European football and you're Manchester United, it's Europa League or Champions League. So in my mind, in my brain, maybe Sir Jim is different, but when they say that Ruben's got to get European football, he's got to get into the Europa League, which is 6th or FA Cup. So I don't know. Do these players, are these players going to be able to do so? I'm not sure. The squad, I'm not sure. Steph's here, says big up Eric and experienced Red Devils. How you doing, Steph? Chad says Ruben got lucky. He didn't have the trouble of getting rid of Bruno when he got that job. How many seasons are we going to survive under Amorim? But it's not about Amorim, Max. I don't know what you're talking about. We've been surviving under managers for the past 13 years. Every single manager that has come in has gotten into a situation where they start making decisions that they need to try and survive because their job is in jeopardy, because the football club is broken and dysfunctional and is in a place where it can't operate properly, and therefore there is no platform for a manager to survive and build and have any continuation. Mourinho got to second and won a Europa League, and what did they do to him in the summer window? They didn't get him any players. They told him you should be fine. When in fact, we needed to build on top of that. What happened? He got sacked, and everything went backwards. He went out. Ali came in. What happened to Ali? Same thing. Fell apart in the 3rd season for him. What did Ali start doing when the results went bad and the players weren't working and things weren't going well? He started changing formations, started playing different tactics that he doesn't play. Didn't work. He failed. He got sacked. Same thing happened to Erik ten Hag as well. All these managers end up in a position because the football club doesn't have a proper platform to provide for them. And yeah, Amorim was gotten players, but again, if you look at it in the bigger picture, what they are trying to do, the part of the plan doesn't really make sense. In the fact that you make the big change, and you're going for these young guys, and you're moving the way you're doing. You're telling Ruben it's his first season, and last season basically doesn't count. Ruben doesn't agree with that, and he's also very well aware that nobody else is going to buy that. I mean, the fans aren't going to buy that. Pundits aren't going to buy that. The rivals aren't going to buy that. Nobody is going to be like, well, yeah, last season doesn't count for Ruben. This is his first season. I mean, this is the beginning of a real season for him, but he was still there. I mean, it doesn't just get washed away. The point of it that we were trying to say was that, all right, he has time to try and sort things out. But when you look at how the football club can move, I mean, there's players here, again, basically, go look at the lineup. You know what? I'll pull it up. How about that? I'll pull it up. Give me a second. Um, all right, here we go. Ready? I got it. Make that bigger. This is how we started the Europa League final. This is how we started the Europa League final. Right? Mount, Højlund, Diallo, Dorgu, Bruno, Casemiro, Maz, Shaw, Maguire, Euro, and Onana. All right? The only people that are gone out of this team is Onana and Højlund. Everybody else is still here. Cass still here, Bruno's still here, Dorgu's new. Shaw's here, Maguire's here, Euro's here. Everybody's still here. So we added some players, sure, but even the bench, I mean, Bienda's still here, Lindelof left, Zirkzee's here, Eriksson left, Garnacho's gone, Delo's here, Ugarte, Evans retired, Menu, and Amos and Collier are on loan. So basically, this team that started and shit the bed against Tottenham in the Europa League final, these guys are basically pretty much, they're all basically still starting, and they're still playing, for the most part. And you could try and blame it on Ruben, but I mean, this football club is only going to be able to remove so many players anyway. So because of the contracts and because of what we did in the past. So we let Herrera go for Bruno as Chad. We had Matic, Herrera, Pogba, killer midfield. Ended up with Fred, McTominay, and Bruno. Yeah, but I mean, this is what I'm saying. Our football club does stupid things. And we've... This is the thing I'm saying, though. The past of the mistakes, I don't know, like... I don't know, maybe people forget. Maybe people don't think it applies. But the past mistakes that the football club has done is still biting us in the ass right now. It's still, there's some things that are still affecting the current manager that we have right now. And if Ruben gets sacked, it's going to be affecting the next manager. That's how bad they were. That's how bad the decisions were. That's how bad the mistakes were. That we are still dealing with them now. That it is still a problem for the current manager. And some of them could be 2 managers ago. And they're still dealing with them. So it's going to take a while for anything to actually happen. Herrera left in the 2019 season, but yes, that is actually true. Yeah, and when Bruno came in, we signed him in January, and actually, I mean, he changed that part of the season for Ollie as well. So, Steph says shitting the bed and not changing some of the sheets is unacceptable. Well, yeah, but the Glazers will tell you that, you know, or whatever. They'll tell you that we can't change the sheets because, you know, the sheets cost, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of pounds, and you're just gonna have to sleep in them. Which is actually a very good analogy, Steph. That's exactly basically what it is. It's like every time we get a manager, someone's taking a giant shit in the bed, and the manager's like, "Hey, I need new sheets or I need a new bed." And the Glazers and everybody else that was in charge basically are like, "Yeah, we can't really do that because we overpaid for that bed, and you're just gonna have to use it because we don't got any money left, or we don't want to spend any more money." Um, and then you got the manager sleeping in a shitty bed. Um, not luck, not luck. Unfortunately, it's not luck. It's not luck. If they keep doing it, Lyle, it's not luck. They used to say the same thing for us. They used to say we were lucky. Not luck. Maybe a little bit of luck, but it's not really luck. I mean, if you keep doing it on a consistent basis, it's not luck. If it happens once or twice, you get lucky once or twice. But if you keep doing it on a consistent basis, it's not luck. It's that you're good. Yeah. It's that you find a way. It's that you're good at finding a way at making things happen, unfortunately. That's where they are now. But, this is what happens. Yeah, Liverpool quad is on Saturday for now. For now, it's still very early. Don't worry about it. I mean, I didn't expect Liverpool to be losing at this stage, at this time. So, I mean, I know they have a red and stuff like that, but I don't expect them to be out at this moment in time. It's gonna have to come later down the road. So, if Law says it's luck, it's luck. Nah, not this time. Not this time. It's not. It's just because I remember when I was younger, they used to say like, you guys are lucky. They used to attack me and say United's so lucky. They're always so lucky. And I used to tell, I got to be fair. I got to be even. Yeah. I used to tell them it's not luck. We literally do it all the time. We've been doing it for years. It's not luck. We're just that good. We find a way. We've lost our way now, but they're doing it. So I hate them. I hate the football club, but I'm not gonna lie. They're doing what we used to do. They're doing what we used to do. People don't want to hear that, but it is the truth. They're doing exactly what we used to do. They're performing exactly how we used to do. And see, the shit part about it is that the shit part about it is we're not replicating their bad era. Yeah. Like the 20 years in which we knocked them off their perch and they fucking watched us in misery, they were still always competitive. It wasn't like they weren't ever like really not in the Champions League or anything like that. It wasn't even like they didn't sometimes give us a push for our money. We're not our shit period, which is now because we're 13 years in. Yeah, it's way worse than theirs, which is the part that makes it even worse. Because it's one thing to watch them win and watch them be good, yeah, but like they used to have like a say in these things. We don't have a say, like we literally don't have a say in these things really anymore. We get maybe 2 opportunities to kind of have a say, but really it's not. Because for us to have a say, we got to be up there and we got to be pushing them, which we're not. So we kind of have a say because we play them twice a year, maybe 3 times or 4, depending on, the other cup competitions. But really, we don't really have a say because we can't, if we're not up there competing, well, we can't really stop them from winning the league. We can't, and if we do stop them from winning the league, then there's always City. And if we stop City, then maybe there's like Arsenal or something, So if we're not up there, we can't really stop anybody. The only way we would stop anybody is if we were up there and we won the league, because that way none of them can win the league. So it's kind of a shit situation in terms of that every year. So far we have to go into seasons and we kind of have to pick the lesser of like, all evils in terms of like, well, we don't want Liverpool to win it, so we'll kind of hope that, City win it. But then we have to deal with City winning shit, and it's like, well, we don't really want them to fucking win it either. Then there's like Arsenal. I mean, like, nobody wants Arsenal to win it because their fan base is annoying. And then, it depends how much you hate Chelsea as well. So, yes, we got 10 likes. Make your own luck. Well, we need to start doing that because I don't know what we've been doing. So, Elias says perhaps they're doing it on purpose at this point. They like boom goal. Thought we were gonna lose or draw. Take this. Nah, I mean, they've been doing it for quite some time. I mean, that's how they won the league last season, yeah? Because everybody knows the best teams and the teams that win are the ones that find out how to get a result when they don't play well. I mean, there was few matches last season in the Premier League specific that Liverpool played, and I watched a couple of them.
Um, it, they got outplayed, but they still won the match. And that's why they ended up winning the league. Those teams, the ones that do that, they're the ones that always end up winning the league because that's how you pick up the extra points. When the other teams, like Arsenal, for example, are getting 8 draws in one season because they can't figure out how to get that one goal at some point, even if they don't play very good. So yeah, they just have a knack for it at this moment in time. It's built into the squad that they have. Um, you know, and over time things will happen. You know what? You know what you could do? Can somebody tell me how old Michael Edwards is? Is he young? Is he a young guy? Because the problem that we have with them is it's not even necessarily the players. It's the people. It's the hierarchy that they have at their club. And unless I don't know, these guys get bored and they want to leave, or they get too old and then they retire. Um, that's why these things come in periods and generations and stuff like that, because you have people like Michael Edwards and the rest of them that have been doing what they've been doing since the arrival of Klopp and stuff like that. As long as those guys are there, they're probably going to continue to keep doing what they've been doing. And then they leave, and it's very hard to, as we all know, it's very hard to replace somebody that's very specifically good at their job, like Sir Alex Ferguson, for example. You'll never actually replace him properly, ever. There's only one of them, so even like a David Gill, you'll never get like another one. Even some of our players, ex legends and stuff. So for it to kind of fall apart, it's either got to be they got to age out, or they got to be bored and move on. And then it kind of, if they don't pay attention, or they don't do a good enough job replacing those guys, that's when the things collapse. So Edwards is 46. Well, that's kind of fucked. I mean, I don't know what his plans are, but I mean, 46, guy could be there for another like 10 years at least, if not longer. Um, yeah, I mean, Steph says all we can do is beat Liverpool twice every season, pretty much, and we don't even manage to do that. So because we're not very good. Well, we're not good. I wouldn't even say we're not very good. We're not good. We're just not good. So yeah. That's all we could do. Um, where's Leicester when you need them? Relegated somehow, some way. Which is also quite crazy. I don't know. I don't even understand how you actually go from winning the league to then like can't even stay in the league. Um, he scored a few lucky goals recently this season. Maybe. I think it's not enough. I don't even think it's necessarily lucky though. I mean, if you look at the statistics in terms of like what we've been doing, we should have more goals. I actually think I would still argue that we're actually unlucky. I don't even think that I would say that those like Manchester United's Premier League rankings. Yeah, our XG, let's put it this way. We have an XG of 10.13. We rank first in the entire league for XG. Total number of shots, 81. We rank first in the entire out of the entire league. Shot conversion, 7.4%. We rank 17th in the Premier League. Shots on target, we have 22. We rank 4th in the Premier League. Total fast breaks, we have 8. We rank 3rd in the entire Premier League. And big chances, we have 11. We rank 4th in the Premier League. So we're actually doing good in terms of creating the chances, but we're not converting, and we're getting fucked for it. We are. I mean, the fact that we're first in XG and shots, and 4th for shots on target, for kind of the way we've performed and how everybody's talking about us, like the league is already over because we're only 3 points off of second. Now, as at this moment in time, I mean, if we start scoring these goals, we'll be all right. Like we will. We'll be all right. You know. But I mean, that shot conversion is what's is that the shot conversion is what's screwing us right now. 7.4%, and we're ranking 17th in the Premier League on shot conversion when we lead in XG and shots, and we're 4th in shots on target, and we're 3rd in fast breaks, and we're 4th on big chances. We need to we if we can just start converting, we'll be fine. I think. I mean, obviously there's things that we'll still have to do better. It's not like everything's gonna go like 100% perfectly smooth, but we'll be getting more points. We'll be winning more matches. We'll be in a better position. Like, it's a bit, and I think that's why like Ruben and like Ineos and stuff, like they're trying to make the argument like we have improved in aspects. It's not translating on the table and the pitch per se, because in points, because like I've always said, if you don't score goals, you're not going to win the games. You don't score goals, you're not going to get points. If we just start scoring those goals, we'll be fine. We'll be absolutely fine, because we'll actually win the matches. Like, you know, against Chelsea, like, yeah, Cass got the yellow, and yeah, like we were a man up and we had 2, but when we were a man up and then it went even, but realistically, like, we probably should have had 4 at some point. And there shouldn't have been an opportunity in that game, even if Cass got the yellow, the second yellow, and got the red. There shouldn't have been an opportunity where basically Chelsea scored that 1 goal. If we put in 4, the game it's been done. You know what I mean? It's been done. They get a goal from a corner. Whoop-de-doo. Like, shame we didn't get the clean sheet, but who cares? The game's still over. When they scored that goal, there's no way we're letting in 3. We didn't. But the fact that we were only able to do 2 when we had the advantage led us to the situation where then it became a 2-1, and you know what? If it was another day, maybe the luck would have went the other way, and maybe we would have ended up conceding, you know, a last minute goal for it to end in a draw. So we have the highest XG. We do. Liverpool only keep 1 clean sheet, but they score goals for fun. Yeah, I mean, you see the way they play. It's very well organized. It's very scintillating as well. But they have intent. It's a lot of confidence as well. They play with a lot of confidence, and it's something that we're still lacking. You know, when I watched them play against Atletico Madrid, the way they attack is with such confidence. We're still struggling to do that. We're still struggling with the confidence aspect. You know, it's quite glaringly obvious when if you watch them play and you watch them attack, and then you watch us play and you watch us attack. Like, you can just tell, like, the uncertainty that are still in our players' heads while we're on the pitch with the ball. It's still there. Now, I think it's getting better because, like I said, we're first for XG, and we're creating loads of chances and stuff like that. So it is getting better, but we need to figure out that final piece of the ball going into the back of the net. Ask Blackburn. Did they finish bottom half? Liverpool were good front runners. We need to beat them at Anfield. Liverpool are good front runners, yeah. Well, Arsenal didn't do anybody any favors anyway, because you know, they played City, and basically Arsenal didn't win and City didn't win. Liverpool won, so that didn't help. And Salah leaving will be interesting. Yeah, but again, I don't think it'll have it'll probably have some sort of an effect, but I don't really think so, to be quite honest, because I think that these guys at Liverpool, Michael Edwards and the rest of them, I don't know any of their names. I just know Michael Edwards. But these guys that are in charge, that are running the football club, they're clearly so good at what they do that I think they'll figure it out. It won't be Salah will be Salah. They're not going to have another Salah, but they're going to get somebody that's going to slot in there if they don't already have. Pun intended. Um, like they did with Slot. I mean, they had a call to make. They had a couple candidates. They picked Slot, and they were right on the money with it. Um, and they got it with Klopp as well. So imagine if we could convert our chances league table, different story. Yeah, and listen, even right now, I'm not having this. Like it's still early it's still early, and we're 3 points off a second. So they talk a hell of a lot of shit about us because, well, one, because we're United, but also because of last season. But like I said last time, it's way too early to be saying nonsense things about basically like where we actually are, because it's way too early. Like anything can really happen, and you just don't really know. Like, I mean, I'm just pulling up the table. Like, there's like we're 11th, but we're 3 points off a second. And City are in the same place as us as well. I mean, City are in ninth, and they have 7 points as well. Nobody's talking about City like that. And Bournemouth is up there with 10 points, and Palace has 9, and Chelsea has 8. So we're literally, like, so Chelsea and City are fine, and United is already, the season's already over, off of 1 point, and literally off of the same points and 1 point. Chelsea and City are fine. United season is over. That's how they talk about us. So, or if we just had football brains in the head positions at our club, well, I mean that would help. That would help. But unfortunately, what we got now is the best we're gonna have for right now. Yeah, XG, expected goals. Lucky is here as well. Wants pressure on Brentford straight away. It keeps asking for aid in heaven. I don't think you're gonna see aid in heaven. Again, I think players that these younger guys like Heaven and stuff like that, I think they're gonna be taking a back seat for a little bit. Clearly going for the he's clearly going for the he's clearly going for the experience. So I don't think you're really gonna see them too much anytime soon, especially right now because it's the beginning of the season, and we're playing way less matches, so it's not like we have to rotate a lot to keep the players fresh. We're just playing 1 week, 1 game a week, so I don't think you're gonna see a lot of these young guys. Maybe when we go to play the FA Cup, but at this point I doubt it, considering the fact that we lost the League Cup. So we'll probably go strong in the first round of the FA Cup, regardless of who it is. Fox says Liverpool will drop off. Well, I mean, I would like for that to happen, but I don't think so. I don't see it happening. I don't. The way they are moving the way that we used to move. I can literally see it, and I hate to admit that, but I will admit it because I keep it real. And when I see them, and when I watch them play, and when I see the things that they do, they are moving the way we used to move. And the way we used to move made us win trophies and made us be very, very strong and very, very hard to beat. And very, 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 extremely rarely did we ever really bottle it. More often than not, we were succeeding. So the way I see them, they're moving the way we used to move, unfortunately, at this moment in time. But football is cycles, and whatever they're doing now won't last forever, just like it didn't last forever before, just like they went missing for a good 20 years. You know what? Maybe it's just our turn. I mean, we are our, our biggest rivals, each our biggest rivals. Yeah, United and Liverpool, like we are our biggest rivals. Maybe it's just our turn to go missing for a good 20 years, and then maybe we come back. So maybe we got another 7 years. Maybe after this one, it'll be 6. And we're just taking turns, going kind of blow for blow, like we usually do. I mean, we did a lot of catching up. Let's be fair, in the 20 years, because we were quite behind them. We did well. We did well to catch up and then surpass them. And now they've caught up back to us. And I mean, if it takes another 6 years, they're probably most likely going to surpass us. So, and then hopefully we come back into the fray and we tie it up, and then we'll probably surpass them again. And we'll just continue on like that. Chad says, I don't expect shit from this lineup. If you watch these games, it's clear to see that there isn't much clear chances in our game. That's lots of crosses and small passes. They break now, and defense splitting. No, I mean, we are creating chances. They just aren't scoring the goals, so. I agree with that, Chad, though. Bruno could have created 2 goals last game, but made bad choices in the final third. Pressure is getting to everyone at the club. Well, I mean, it's not just Bruno. Literally, there was probably like 5-6 players. They probably did that at least, I would say, twice each, where they made bad choices in the final third. And they should have gave it to the other player instead of the player that they tried to give it to. But then on top of that, not even that, but just the ones that we do actually get and do, we're not scoring them. So, I mean, I don't know like how much more you need to lead in certain statistics in the attacking sense. I mean, for goals, we have 6. We rank 6th. So Lucky says our season is fine. A lot of people are talking shit. Well, listen, it's one thing if you're concerned or worried. I get that. You can be concerned, you can be worried because there's some worrying signs there, yeah? And it could go wrong very easily. But I don't agree with speaking in the terms of that it's like it's done and dusted. Football is a funny old game. Things can happen. Lyle said that he's calling a night. Got people coming over tomorrow. Public holiday. Yeah, it's a holiday here too. Heritage Day. Got to drive my mom around. Well, thank you for stopping by, Lyle. Appreciate it. Enjoy Heritage Day. Tell mom said hello, and hope she's doing well. And we'll see you later. And be good. So thanks for dropping by. Chad says the Portuguese era is coming to an end, and people can smell around the club. It's like a dead rat in the roof. The Portuguese era? What Portuguese era? The Portuguese era is not coming to an end. In terms of what? Managers? Players? All of it? All the Portuguese? What do you mean by the Portuguese era? Players? Are you just talking, or is that just about Bruno? What does that mean? Chad says if Salah leaves next season and Bruno leaves us as well, Osimhen comes to us and we win the league. Yeah, no, we're not winning the league just because of Osimhen. We have a lot more that we got to do than that. Well, we should be better, but Osimhen's not even gonna come to us. So, didn't he go to Turkey? Oh yeah, I forgot Chad's from South Africa as well. Lucky says we will put pressure Brentford and we will make make Aiden Heaven, Harry Maguire, Maz, Lisandro, Cunha, Dorgo, and Zirkzee. As soon as Bruno leaves, bet we will be back on top unless we get more overrated British players. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, there's a good possibility he might leave next season, so but I guess it all depends on what happens as well. So, I mean, depends how this season goes, depends if Ruben's here or not. Probably depends on the offer that we get for him. But also, I guess, depends on how he feels and what he wants to do. And his family. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't really believe that. I guess I'll believe it when I see it. But yeah, because I've heard that same story with, I don't know, and different players. But we still haven't won the league, so I don't really believe it. I don't think it'll actually come. I mean, and I mean, let's put it this way. You say as soon as Bruno leaves. So you're predicting that if he leaves at the end of this season, next season we're going to win the league. If he leaves at the end of the season, next season we'll win the league. Because like if he leaves and we're back on top like 3 seasons later, does that really count? Does it really count? Grace is here. What's up, Grace? Says, what's up, honeys? How you doing, Grace? We're just talking. I don't even know what I don't even know. We're just talking random United stuff today. Which is it's good. I will tell you this, Chad, though. I will tell you this. I will say this again, and Box isn't gonna like me for this at all. He's not gonna like this for me. He's not gonna like this for me at all. But I will tell you this again. And I will hold this to the belief that I would have sold Bruno for the amount of money that was offered to us in the summer. I would have done it because I think if we could have spent that money wisely, and I think you can use that money to rebuild the squad in the way that we need to rebuild the squad, that I would have liked to rebuild the squad. And if we get that offer again in the summer, I would take it again. And it's not because I'm not like you, Chad. I don't think Bruno's a bad player or I hate him. But I think it's the smartest option for our football club based on the situation and the circumstances that we are in. And I would pull the trigger because I think, listen, we might not even get that opportunity next at the end of this year. Yeah, the next summer window, we might not even get that opportunity that we had. They might not come back in for him. They might not offer us that amount of money. But if we do, I think you can't really turn it down twice, can you? To me, it's still sort of a similar thing in the fact of that it has Coutinho vibes. It can fund you the rebuild you kind of got to do. And I would do it for the betterment of the club. Because like I said, I don't do player FC. I think he's been a very impactful player. He just had his what was it, 250th match and however many goals that was in the Chelsea. So it's not like he's done nothing. And it's not like he doesn't have impact on games, but I just feel like you got to take the opportunity. And unfortunately, I mean, listen, I think, if some Qatar guy or whatever, um, woke up in January and goes, I'm gonna buy the club from the Glazers for 8 billion, and then I'm gonna spend another, whatever billion over the next couple years, in transfers. I think it's a very different story. You probably don't have to sell Bruno. Like, I probably wouldn't sell Bruno. I'm doing it specifically for money because our club is in a situation where I still think we need to add probably a lot of other pieces, and I just don't see how we're going to be able to do that. But I guess it depends what happens this season as well. Um, no, there was a few in the Chelsea match. There was definitely a few for sure, but it was all basically in the first half. I mean, the second half was pretty much dead. The City match we didn't really create. Um, but I mean, yeah, like, a lot of the matches we take a lot of shots. We have a couple big chances. Um, we have decently, like, a good set amount of set pieces as well, but we're not really scoring from them. And we should be putting, we should be putting in like two goals. From what we're doing, from what we've been doing, we should be getting at least like two goals or so. At the very minimum, like, I'm just reading some. We are winning the league this season. I hope so. Pulling the trigger, you hate Bruno that much? Nah, not like that, Grace. I would never. I would never. That would be horrible. Yeah, that's what I'm predicting. In 2 seasons, we will be the best team in England if he leaves. I mean, but it depends. I mean, you're saying it in a way of like he's holding us down, but well, let's put it this way. I'll put it this way. If he goes, that means we're getting money, yeah? Because I think it's two very different situations. If you get rid of a player like Bruno and you sell him, and we're not getting rid of him for 15 million. It's not peanuts. They're going to pay a lot of money for him, whether you agree with that or not. And I've dealt with some people that don't take it personally, but they're a little bit like you, in terms of that they don't rate Bruno at all, online. I think, but I don't think they weren't United fans, yeah. And there was something about, I wrote something about like United probably should have sold Bruno because we could have used the cash to get more players or something like that. And I said we should have sold him for the 100 million, because it was probably a mistake because we couldn't get a midfielder. And I had a bunch of people like, who would pay 100 million for him? And I was like, well, clearly you're either a United fan or you're a bot, because I mean, it was literally an offer for him for 100 million. So, what if we get the offer in January? I think it's difficult. I don't really like that because I don't think we would be able to do what we need to do in January. I think the way I see it is if we got the offer in January, I could be wrong, but I just feel like if we were to get that offer in January, and it's because the club doesn't make moves in January, I just don't. I don't see how the club would do what I think they have to do if you sell Bruno. Like my whole thing that I was about to say to you, I'm sorry, I went a little bit all over the place, but basically what I was saying was there's two different versions of getting rid of Bruno, yeah? If if you just take Bruno out right now and you get no money and we have this squad, I don't think there's no chance in hell that we're going to be better in any fashion. But if you if you take Bruno and sell him for money and he's out of the squad and then you buy some other players with the money that we just got from him, and I think there's always definitely 100% chance that you could be better, and it could be better, and it could be something that actually becomes successful. But yeah, that's sort of my thing with the January thing. I don't I feel like if you were to get the offer in January and it's for 100 mil, I would take it. Like if I was in charge and I knew I could do the job, I would take it if I knew I could get like 3 players in January or something like that. But what did like that we actually need, yeah? But I don't trust our football club to be able to do business in about, you know, 3 weeks or so, because I assume it'd probably take 1 week of January for that to even happen, and you got 3 weeks, and I don't I don't trust the club to do proper and good business in January. Um, so I don't know if I would be okay with them doing it. But I mean, if they did it and they got, maybe like if they got rid of Bruno, if they sold Bruno, yeah, and then we could get like Baleba, 2 other players or whatever. We spread the payments out and all that good stuff. Then it'll probably be fine. But I don't trust the football club to sell Bruno in January and then do the proper sort of rebuilding that I think you should absolutely do if you sell Bruno. So you can't play mid, that's holding us down. But we also don't have anybody else though. I mean, you're gonna say Kobe, but clearly like the manager is not about that. Also, that's just one less player. Like it's just one less player that we have. It's just one less option. Like if you get rid of Bruno and you say play Kobe, yeah, what happens if Kobe gets injured? What are we doing then? We got Cass and Ugarte. We're just gonna have to play the rest of the season from that point on. We're just gonna have to play like that. I agree. I don't like him in the midfield, but I mean he scored one of the goals against Chelsea. He's still having some sort of an impact, and it's just like you can't just get rid of him and then do nothing. You got to replace him with something or something else. So, I mean, it was a bit of my concern, the same as like I said with Rashford and the rest of them when we were in January last season. And I felt like that didn't go particularly well, and that didn't really help Ruben too much either. Like, yeah, Ruben like wanted Rashford out, and he didn't want Anthony, and whatever. But it was just like the fact that we got rid of them and we were playing so many matches, and all we did was get Dorgu in. Well, at one point in the season, we were shorthanded because we got rid of like 3 attacking players, and then we lost like 2. We lost a couple to injury, and then we were short on players. So, and I was unhappy that like they were all loans and we couldn't really get any money, and we didn't really look to get at least one other attacker or something that we could kind of use, even if it was a loan, even if you loaned somebody in January just to bring it to the end of the season. Um, so yeah, we can't really, they got it. They would have to get They would have to do it properly for it to be. They're gonna do it. Next season, money for Bruno, money for Rashford, money for Rasmus. Casemiro wages off the books, maybe Maguire too. We might sell others. Well, I don't know about Maguire. I saw some little murmurs that he might get like a new contract, maybe. But it's nothing like concrete at this moment in time. But yeah, so I mean, we'll see. Cass is definitely going, so we don't have to worry about that. And Rashford, well, hopefully, he just keeps doing good at Barcelona. I think what's interesting is, if I'm not mistaken, right? So because the deal we did with Barca is not mandatory and it's optional, if Rashford actually has a very, very, very like good season at Barcelona, like an actual good season, yeah, we can actually, I'm pretty sure we can actually tell Barca to fuck off with the price tag that is the optional fee. Isn't it only like 25 million or something like that? So if he actually does very well, I mean, it'd probably cause a problem, but we could probably tell them. I mean, from my understanding, they could be like, yeah, we want to pay the 25 million, but then we can just reject it. So maybe there's some type of clause in there, but I don't know. How is Rasmus doing, by the way? Is he playing? He scored a goal, didn't he, last time? Yeah, didn't Rasmus, they just want to make that money back. They'll break even on it, or whatever it is. I think they might make a 5 million profit somehow on the books. So, Koku in January. Yeah, but see, I don't think like with him. I don't think we're looking at him. Where did he go, by the way? Well, one of the stories, I'll tell you this much here. Where did this thing go? Hold on. Get rid of this. Real quick, since we're talking about transfers, where is this guy? Here's one. I would like this kid. Because apparently Manchester United have now joined the race to sign Yildiz. And Juventus are ready to offer him a new contract in an attempt to end the speculation. But I'm pretty sure he's going out of contract soon. So if he does not accept the new contract that Juventus are reportedly going to try and give him, you could probably get this kid for way cheaper than you probably should, because he'll end up going for a free and he'll put Juventus in a spot that they're going to need to sell him, and they're going to need to take some sort of money for a price that they probably wouldn't want to do. And I think he's actually a very good kid. I think he's very good. I would like him. He went to Besiktas, yeah. Which is surprising, because he actually did pretty good at the Portuguese league. You think he would have went somewhere else? Well, he is Turkish, yeah. Mount can do everything that Bruno can. I don't really think so. You know, well, you know what? You know what Mount can't do that Bruno can? He can't stay fit. So we'll see. We'll see. He's got a season to prove it. I mean, he already got a slight injury, but to be fair, he is back. And he came back with Cunha. So, and they were injured in there as well. But we'll see how it goes, because I mean, Mason Mount might need to be one that goes as well. So Mason Mount might need to be one that goes as well, because I mean, if we get to a point in the season and Mason Mount is out for another goes missing for another 3 months, um, 3 4 months or something like that. I mean, that's it. So he's Mason Mount is one injury away from being out of the squad, out of the club. Um. So yeah, I don't know. If Maguire gets a contract and then some, listen, I don't really have a problem with Maguire though. Like, I mean, if they give him a contract, it's gonna be on like reduced wages, and I don't want to see him starting every week. I don't think he needs to be starting every week. He's on the bench as a sub or some shit. I think it's probably fine. I don't really have a big deal about it. It doesn't mean like don't go buy a center back, you know what I mean? Or whatever. If we actually need one. So we just got an update right now that Manchester United's recruitment team are beginning to draw potential names for the right wing back position. So I don't know what that actually necessarily means in terms of the squad. Um, Fox has been one to harshly criticize the wing back position, saying they're not good enough, which is fair play. But how do we balance? You know, what is the balance of that then? Does that mean that somebody's getting sold or people getting shifted around? Do we not play Diallo back there anymore? Does Maz not have to like sometimes feature there anymore? And just can go straight to center back? What, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see because even that whole thing with the two, even the whole thing with the two, buying the 210s and all that stuff. Like I was kind of confused when we were doing it, and I was just like, I don't really know how they're gonna make it work. I kind of trusted them that they were gonna do something that would make it work, but I don't think that I don't think they really did in a certain aspect in the fact of that, like, I would still take the 210s if you told me we were getting a midfielder as well. But if you were to, if we had Cunha first, and then you told me at the time, if you told me we were going to get Mbuemo and we're going to end up not getting a midfielder, I'd be like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? But I just, when they were like, yeah, we'll get 210s, and then we all just assumed at some point we'll end up getting the midfielder. So we're like, fine, it's fine that we have the 210s. We're gonna get a striker, and then what did we always say? That we were gonna go backwards. We'll get a midfielder, and then maybe probably a goalkeeper, hopefully. And actually, what we did was we got the 10s, the striker, we skipped the midfielder, and we got a goalkeeper. So the position that I thought would be the least likely was the goalkeeper, and somehow we did that one, and we didn't get the midfielder. So a little bit like this. Another update saying Man United's hierarchy is keen to ensure that any new signings makes sense both financially and tactically. There will be no panic buys. Well, that's a good update. I mean, shouldn't you just be doing that always, forever, at all times, every day? You know? Shouldn't that always be always? Like, sometimes these updates is like so funny. Like, it's come from Dean's Jones Soccer, by the way. It's just sometimes it's just so nonsense. Like I'd like to think sometimes that they get this piece of information, the club puts it out, right? And it's just somebody in the club, and they're like, oh, they're like, tell Dean, by the way,
that we said that we're keen to ensure that any new signings make sense both financially and tactically. We will not we won't do a panic buy. And then they send the message on WhatsApp or whatever through like a third source. And then they just sit back there in their office and they're like they're like, yeah, that's gonna win some points with the fans. Like, and then he's like he's waiting like an hour for it to come out. And he goes on Twitter to check it out to see he thinks people are gonna be putting up memes or like gifs of like people fucking celebrating and like, yeah, that's my football club, let's go. And it's just people like taking the piss out of them because it's like, what does that mean? Like, do you want me to stand up and applaud for that? Do you want me to get excited? Because the hierarchy is ensuring us that any new signings will make sense both financially and tactically. And that you're not going to panic buy. You're not supposed to panic buy. You're supposed to make signings that are both financially and tactically make sense. You're supposed to do that. What do you want, a cookie? They want a cookie for doing the job. Grace says, I would sell Shaw, Martinez, Delo, Maz, Mount, Bruno, Maguire, Cass, and Heaton leaves on the free. You would sell Martinez, and you would sell Delo, and you would sell Maz. The other ones I get. You would sell Leandro and Delo and Maz. Really? Really, Grace? Why would you sell Delo? To free him? You wouldn't sell Delo because you think he's bad. You want to sell Delo so you could free him, yeah? You're trying to help him out. Trying to help him out. Grace says keeping McGuire and reduced wages means Indians don't need to buy a replacement and can spend money on other areas. Spending 130 million unnecessarily on 210s looks like Amorim's been backed while buying the least amount of players. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Yeah, like again. It's all circumstances, right, Grace? I mean, like if you gave me two options and you tell me Maguire, like a short-term deal on reduced wages, but then that means that you're not getting a replacement or you're not adding somebody else to the mixture. Um, then I probably wouldn't want it. But for his age that he's coming to, if you keep him around and it's the wages are reduced and you give him like a shorter term contract, I think he's an all right guy to keep around for like experience, stuff like that. And he could be like part of the squad, like a squad player, especially if we get into Europe and we're gonna play more matches. Then like that's fine. But yeah, I guess it just kind of depends on the situation of like where we find ourselves, and what it means. Because like me personally, like let's say we get into Europe, like I would probably keep him. I would use him as a squad player, but like he's not going to be starting. He's at the end of his career, but I keep him around for the experience and for the way he conducts himself and handles himself. I think he probably is like a sort of a good role model to have for some of the younger guys. And also I think his experience in terms of what he went through at this football club, in terms of like basically just getting absolutely shitted on every single week for like 3 years straight and kind of managing to navigate through that and be all right. I think that could be helpful and useful in situations in terms of mentoring some younger players. But I would be, yeah, if we got into Europe, I'd keep him around if he accepts a reduced wage. I mean, if he doesn't, then he can piss off. But I would then definitely be looking to get somebody else in ready to go so that like in 2 years time when he actually is gone for good because that's it, um we're rolling, you know, we're rolling.
He shouldn't be starting any week. Nah, I mean, he can start. He started before. Been fine. He literally just started against Chelsea. We won. So Jean Claire to Debo. Didn't he go to? Didn't he? Isn't he at Chelsea? Means Delo doesn't deserve his number. Delo and Maz aren't wingbacks, but Delo deserves better. Yeah, I mean, like I like Maz as a centre back. I think he actually does decently. I think he does pretty good there. Um, I mean, the thing that I would do is I would be getting rid of Shaw. Um, Martinez, I would like to see him stay if he stays fit. I think him and Mason Mount are basically in the same sort of boat in terms of that. I mean, once Leacha comes back, if Leacha sustains like any type of sort of like a bad injury and he's out for like months, I think that's it for him, which is kind of sad because I actually like him as a player. Um, and the same goes for Mount. But I would, I mean, I would take Shaw out for sure. Have Maz back there, but I don't know. A lot of players that could play a lot of positions. Martinez is 1 year left from next season. I know that. I know he does. And the club has a decision to make. Because that's actually kind of a bit fucked. You know what I mean? He hasn't really played for like 2 seasons, pretty much. And we either have to sell him or give him a new contract. And if you sell him, or at least try to sell him, I don't know how that's gonna go. Sure, maybe there'll be like a team or two, but I don't know because he hasn't played and he's been injured. So I feel like the clubs that would want him are probably going to be very limited. If there's going to be any sort of significant interest, and also, you know, that going to be considered a loss for us, um, financially that we can afford. I don't know. Even McGuire's telling teams that I give him, he's not that bad. He used to be. He's not that bad. Not that bad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. They got a big thing on their hands that they got to do. So, um, they're gonna have to figure it out. I guess it depends what happens. I mean, if Lisandro comes back and he's fine and he plays like the whole season, he doesn't have any major injury concerns. We're probably gonna keep him. We're probably gonna give him a new contract. I think if he has, you know, if he sustains some sort of a midterm, long term injury, you know, like let's say we get to January and he gets an injury and he, is out from January to whatever April. They'll probably be like, can't really give him a new contract. It's like 3 long-term injuries in 3 years in a row. He'll probably end up like Luke Shaw all over again. We can't really rely on him, so I don't know. We gotta see. Well, one of the things that they were talking about again, since you want to talk about Harry Maguire replacement, is this story has come back and it's not going away for whatever reason, but it's back again. I don't even know who's this by. Football Insider. So apparently Everton are preparing to block advances from Manchester United for centre back Jared Brantwaite again. The story has not gone away, so I don't know He was a target under Ten Hag. He was a target under Ten Hag and Ineos, and we didn't get him. Apparently, it's still a thing, so I don't really know. Ignore the bottom half comment. He's a special aggregator. He tries to put his opinion on it. I don't know if it gets more interaction for him or whatever, but um, wrote, imagine a back three of Branthwaite, the lit Euro. Rival attacks would be cooked. I mean, this is the shit. This is what we deal with on Twitter. Do you agree? Do you agree with this? Chad says Maguire almost cost us against Chelsea, but he didn't. So I don't care, to be honest. He almost cost us, but he didn't cost us. So me, I don't. It doesn't really matter. If he did cost us, different story. But it didn't happen. So, and him almost costing us at Chelsea. I mean, the guy's done well the last like 2 seasons. So he's done way more good the last 2 seasons than he's done bad last 2 seasons. So I'm all right with him. I have no problem with the guy. Again, I'm not saying he's a superstar and that he should be starting every week, but I don't have a problem with him. I think he's all right. He's all right. Maguire, was Maguire going to teach? Well, you keep talking about not having leaders, and I think Maguire, the fact that he was literally, I don't know, Maguire literally had a bomb threat to his house and his family. He was probably one of the most ridiculed players in all of the Premier League. He got the captaincy stripped off of him. I think he almost lost his England spot, or he slightly momentarily did because of Gareth Southgate. And he managed to go through all of that and come back, and he actually managed to start putting in good performances after that. So I respect that. And I think that what he can teach is the younger guys how to handle themselves and control themselves through the hard times and being at Manchester United. I don't understand. Do we keep players that nobody wants, like a bunch of? So did the entire team. Grimsby forwards. Read my comment. Where's your comment? Would Arsenal or Liverpool or City keep him? If not, why should we? Oh, Martinez? Martinez, I think, based off of ability, I don't see why not. Injury status, no. I don't know. I think he's a good player. Obviously, his problem is just the injury. So, otherwise, or are you talking about Maguire? Oh, Maguire. Well, maybe they. I mean, they probably would move him on. Maybe. I mean, it depends. I mean, look at City. They got Gundogan. Like, you know, but it depends. It depends. It depends because like, if Maguire was in their squads and he won the things that they won, maybe they would keep him around. You know, maybe they would. So like I don't know. I don't know. Like, there's some players in the city squad are still there. If they won the things that if he was there and he won the things that they won and he was part of the squad, maybe they would keep him. I don't know. Again, like it's just one of those things that like if he takes a reduced wage, and I'm talking about like a decently good reduced wage, and we give him like a 2-year contract or something, and he's just there, that's part of the squad. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But then if you tell me, well, if we keep him, we're not getting somebody else, then I'd just be like, well, then just I guess get rid of him. I would keep him just to have him like around. But if I'm keeping him to keep him around, like I wouldn't not be getting somebody else. I don't know if that makes sense. Especially with I don't know what's happening with Licha. So I guess it depends how that goes as well. Because if you get rid of Licha, and I would probably look to get rid of Shaw, who's technically another centre back. So I don't know how many centre backs you're gonna get rid of and how many centre backs you're gonna get in. And I know we got a couple young ones there as well. Like there's Heaven. Um, but I don't know. Somewhere you got to make a decision on somebody. Diego Leon Cunha, Brian Mbemo. Keep him around. Just buy a poster of him. You know what I mean by keep him around. I mean, like, you can use him as a squad player. Like, he's not going to start. He'll be there. He's experienced in Manchester United. We don't have players. I actually think that, like, the fact that he was so shit and he was so bad and that he was the captain and he lost the captaincy. I think the way he conducts himself, unfortunately, I don't think we have many players at the football club that can actually carry themselves the way he's carried himself. And I think just having that around, like he doesn't have to start, but being in the squad, being with the teammates, like interacting with them, I think that might actually go a long way. And also, it's not like he's totally useless anyway. Like he's not. Not. He has his weaknesses, and obviously it's only getting worse because his pace was never a thing that was, his pace was always a weakness, and he's getting older, so he's getting slower. But if we're playing a 3, I think he'll be all right. If we get rid of Ruben and we go to like a back 4, I don't think that's gonna work very well for him. But yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't, because we're not gonna get money for him. I'm not his agent. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to look at the squad as like I don't have an agenda against Harry Maguire. I hated him for 3 years because he sucked and he was terrible. I'm just trying being fair to the guy. Like I think he's come back the past 2 years. He's done pretty good for what he was doing before. And I actually, again, I have respect for the guy. I think the way that he was able to come back and actually start putting in good performances after what he went through. And I thought his time was done at United, and I wanted him gone. But watching him over the past 2 seasons and putting in the performances that he's put in, I was like, all right, well, fair play. You're actually one of the players that was shit for like 3 years in a row, and they took the captaincy away from you. And instead of continuing to make shitty bullshit statements that I hear from the players week in, week out, or just totally give up, he fought for his spot and he put in good performances and he earned his place at the club. And actually, there was a lot of matches where he was actually very, very like useful. Like we needed him. Like he actually performed very well in the matches. Like he did good. So I think I respect that because there's been a lot of quitters. There's been a lot of bullshitters. Been a lot of there's been a lot of weak ones at this football club. And I'm sorry, but just like if you took what Maguire went through in terms of like death threats, his house had a bomb threat. He had the captaincy taken off of him, and he was ridiculed by the entire world. Um, and if you gave those same circumstances to like, I don't know, name basically almost like any player that played for a football club in like the last 6, 7 years, I don't think they're handling that. I don't think that they're coming out of the other side of that. I don't. Um, don't. Is your last name McGuire? No. Did he move him on? He moved him on early though. Maybe if he was good, he would have won anything that they won. I've had seagulls on my roof. Well, listen, I'm just saying. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But listen, I'm getting out of here though. I gotta go. What's today? Tuesday. Tuesday. I'm trying to think of when we'll go live. Um, there's no football Thursday. Eh? There's no like today 23 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There's no nothing. Yeah, there's nothing important. Maybe we'll go live Thursday, and we'll be live Friday for sure. We'll be live Friday for sure. So yeah, Friday we'll be live for the Friday freestyle. We'll be live. We'll probably go live Thursday as well. We'll just do it back to back, and then obviously we got the match on Saturday. It's an early one for me, so I'm gonna have to be up for that. So yeah, and we'll take the Sunday off again, and then we'll probably come back on Monday as well. So if we lose to Brentford, are you Amorim out? No, I'll be. I'm not gonna be Amorim out. I don't need to be Amorim out. Amorim will be Amorim out himself if he fails. So I don't need to be Amorim out. I don't need to be any manager out. I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. What about Sunderland? No, I'm gonna be pissed that we lose, and I'm gonna be upset if we do lose. But I'm not gonna. I'm not making Amorim out videos. I'm not doing it. I can do it for the views per se. I can. I can make a nice catchy. Can make a nice big thumbnail that just has pictures of Amorim crying and just write Amorim out. We'll probably get a bunch of views, but I mean, just maybe it's boring. But the way I view it is, I mean, if he doesn't do a good job, he's gonna get out. Like he's gonna be out. So, um, you know, I don't wish for him to fail. I mean, I'll tell you when it's over. Be like, yeah, it's done. Like he's going to get sacked, but I'm not gonna scream and shout. It's just because I just don't. I just think. I still think that the issues are that Like maybe to be better, but it's not going to be what people think it's going to be. The grass isn't always greener, and I think we just have like I just know like if he goes like whatever manager comes in, there's still a bunch of problems that the club itself has to sort out, and until the club actually sorts it out, which maybe sometimes they can't do it immediately, um, it's still gonna be a struggle for whoever takes it over. So it's just like you know, just like whatever. It's just it's hard to blame everything on the manager. I'm kind of just bored of it, you know. I don't know, been through this like 5 times already. Kind of, I'm just bored of it. So what if we lost 7-0 to Liverpool again? But yeah, you can't do that. Can't do that. You definitely can't do that. No, I mean, listen, if you lose 7-0 to if you lose 7-0 to Liverpool, um, especially where with what has happened already, it's a sackable offense. I mean, you can't. There's no way. There's no how do you defend that? You know what I mean? How do you defend it? Um, I think for him, he was lucky that it was in under a different circumstance. You know what I mean? Because he had a little bit of money in the bank in that situation. So it was like, yeah, obviously 7-0, that's disgusting, and you can't do that ever. And even people were like, that's still a sackable offense. But I think what saved him was like, you know, what he kind of did before that. So he had a little bit of money in the bank. I think if you have this situation that he's been in since he's come here and you lose 7-0 to Liverpool, I mean, you're gone. You know, like that. But that's the thing. Like, I don't even have to make a video because that's it. Right? Like, it's over. No? I think he knows. I think he would know that. I think he would probably. To be fair, I think Ruben's the kind of guy that I think if that was to happen to him and they didn't sack him, I think he would leave. I think he would actually leave. Like if we go to Liverpool and they were to beat us 7-0 and Ineos refused to sack him, I actually think after the 7, I think Ruben would actually just leave. Even if it was 6, I think he would leave. If it's like 3, it's a bad result, like bad. But I mean, we just lost 3 to City. 3 is a normal sort of normal-ish scoreline. You lose 7, and it's against Liverpool as well. I mean, I don't know. I can't even see him staying. Like I think he would just walk. He'd be like, nah, that's it. Um, what is United quality? Do we know what United quality is? Well, I think we have. I think we know what it is, what it's supposed to be. Do we have United quality in our team, in our squad? Do we have it? Have we had it? I don't know. I think so. Doesn't feel like it. DJ Darkest Night says, "Hi, Red Devil. I'm new. That's a hell of a background, dude. Love it." Well, thank you. Appreciate it. It's fake, but you know. um, how you doing, buddy? My name's Eric, by the way. Glad you're here. Appreciate it. Who else was in the chat? I missed a part of the chat. Eric likes Pokemon. I do like Pokemon. I do like Pokemon. I miss Pokemon. Used to play it all the time when I was a little kid. Best game. Best game ever. What was I looking at? Grace says she'd go to Old Trafford and show him the door herself. Yeah, I don't even, you probably don't have to do that, Grace. Though I think he would just do it. You know what I mean? You're tuning in from London. Big up yourself from London. From London. I don't know if you know. Loads of people from the UK know, but yeah, I'm Maltese. I don't know if you've ever been to Malta or you heard of Malta. There's loads of people from the UK go there. I got some friends over there. I got a couple friends from London. I got one or two from Manchester. So, yeah. Shout out to you. It's late. The man is stubborn. That's why he will lose his job. Well, fair enough. I mean, listen, but that's the thing, Chad. That's the thing, Chad. I mean, it's all on him. It's all on him. So that's why I'm not too fussed about it. I don't want to see it. I don't you know, I'm not going to enjoy it. I think it's going to be bad. You DJ'd in Valletta. Did you really? Did you really? Interesting. The internet is very interesting. When did you do that? And what kind of music do you DJ? Are you like a techno? Are you like a techno guy? Are you like a techno DJ? Are you really? All right, great. So I thought I was the only one. I could have swore. I was like, I thought you said, and the party's in Gozo. Really? Really? Well, me and my friends are from Gozo. House. Okay. All right. Fair enough. No, because I'm trying to see. I'm like, maybe I saw you, man. I was there. I was just there. I was just there for 2 months. I was running around, going to a bunch of parties. So I was like, maybe I was at one of the places you DJ'd, which would be hilarious. But yeah, things that make you go home. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Gray said exactly what I did. I could have swore, man. I could have swore, DJ. I could have swore you said that you died in Valletta. Like I was reading it, and I was just like, he can't. There's no way he meant he died because he. I mean, he's here. So, but then I was like, maybe he was like metaphorically saying like, you know, I thought maybe like, you know, you had a wild night out, drank a lot or something like that. And then my brain put it together and it was like DJ'd. And I was like, oh. I worked in a club just outside of Valletta called the New Generator. I've never even heard of that. I'll ask my buddy, cause yeah. That's why I like, you know, I like malfunctioned. I like malfunctioned for a good like 3 minutes. I had to rewire my brain. I've never heard of that. Called New Generator. Hold on, I'm gonna ask my friend because my friend's a DJ, and he DJs a lot in Malta, and he knows all the spots. So I'm gonna ask him about that. Like, what is that? Because I actually never heard of it. New Generator. So the club next door was called Atlas. I think Atlas I've heard of. Grace said she died in Malta. How do you hear that? Chad says Euro is United Quality, Manu is United Quality, Delete United Quality. Well, fair enough. But we don't got many of them, do we, Chad? You know? All right. Listen, I apologize, but I do have to go. We've been live for almost 3 hours. I gotta go. I gotta go eat dinner. I gotta take care of some things. DJ, Darkest Night may have been just after 1999. Oh, I thought you were there recently. United qualities players that other players want to play with and regret playing against. I'd probably add a couple things in there as well, but not 12. I'm not 12, Grace. I'm 11. No, but yeah, I do have to go. So shout out to everybody that liked the video. If you didn't like it, please just make sure you like it on the way out, because YouTube, YouTube things. We need more views, the channel, and all that stuff. Shout out to all the people that got involved in the chat. I'm sorry, I'm very tired. I woke up like very, very early today, and I was doing well about an hour and a half into the show, and I crashed. So I'm exhausted. I could tell I'm like very low energy right now, and it's like 800 degrees in this setting. So, yeah. Well, DJ, nice to meet you. Glad you're here. And I hope to see you back. We'll get we can have like a conversation more about football and stuff going forward. Gonna be streaming Thursday and Friday. Like 8:30 p.m. UK time. I go off UK time because everybody else is from Europe. So British Standard Time, whatever, UK, British Standard, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, Thursday, Friday, at the same time. And then we also always do a Red Devil recap, we call it. So after the match, we'll be live talking about the match, breaking it down, player ratings and all that good stuff. So yeah, I mean, well, I hope to see you back. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for joining. Make sure you hit the notification bell so that you get notified when we go live. Shout out to you, Grace and Chad. You guys are still here as well. And Lucky. And everybody else that was with us earlier. Lyle and Box and Ray and Steph, of course. And even Axe for a little bit as well. So sweet big man. See you soon, Russell. Thank you. You too, buddy. Appreciate it. I'll see you guys later. Be good. Everybody have a good night. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe. And we'll talk on Thursday. All right. We'll talk on Thursday. Be good till then. Yeah, Axe was here. Yeah, he was here at some point. At some point he was here. He might still be here. I don't know. But he was talking before. But yeah. So yep, I'll see you guys. Be good. DJ's just wondering. He's like, "What's Axe?" You'll figure it out. All right. Sorry about that. Nah, it's all right. Listen, he's okay. He's okay. Sometimes he gets a little out of hand, but it's all right. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Anyway, be good. I gotta go. For real. Bye bye. Thank you guys.